You were taught a lie from the moment you were born. You were told that money is a direct reward for hard work, morality, and fairness. You genuinely believe that if you put in the hours, keep your head down, and play by the rules, the financial system will eventually reward you with wealth and freedom. That is the greatest deception ever engineered by the elite. The truth is brutal, and it was mapped out centuries ago by Niccolò Machiavelli. Money does not care about your morals. Money does not care how hard you work. Money is simply power disguised as paper, and it flows exclusively toward those who understand psychological positioning, while completely ignoring those who merely sell their labor. The financial system is not a meritocracy. It is a chessboard, and right now, you are playing as a pawn, exhausted and confused, wondering why the kings and queens are taking all the capital. In the next few minutes, we are going to completely dismantle your comforting illusions about wealth. We will break down the Machiavellian psychology of money. You will discover why your emotional attachment to your paycheck is keeping you trapped, why appearing needy or reactive destroys your financial leverage, and why true generational wealth is built through strategic restraint, not endless hustle. Write this down now. Effort without psychological leverage is just elegant slavery. By the end of this protocol, you will stop reacting to the economy like a victim and start commanding your capital like a strategist. Let us break the illusion. First, we must address the catastrophic myth of fairness. The middle class operates on an entirely emotional relationship with money. They view their income as a measure of their personal worth and their moral goodness. When they work extremely hard and do not get rich, they feel angry. They complain that the system is broken. They demand that someone fix it to make it fair. This is a fatal cognitive flaw. Wealthy individuals do not view money emotionally. They view it as a cold, mechanical instrument of leverage. They understand that the market is a sociopathic entity. It does not reward the hardest worker in the room. It rewards the person who controls the most leverage. If you are emotionally attached to the idea that your physical effort must equal your financial income, you will spend your entire life exhausted and underpaid. You must cultivate absolute emotional detachment. This is the absolute foundation of Machiavellian financial strategy. Look at how people behave when a crisis hits. The poor and the middle class react immediately. They panic sell their assets, they take on toxic debt, and they let fear dictate their financial moves. They are entirely predictable. And in the game of wealth, predictability is vulnerability. The elite operate entirely differently. They master the art of the strategic pause. When the market crashes, they do not panic. They observe quietly. They let the emotionally fragile players bleed out, and then they swoop in to buy assets at a massive discount. This requires a level of emotional discipline that the average person simply refuses to develop. You must stop reacting to your financial reality and start positioning yourself to exploit the reactions of others. This brings us directly to the concept of visibility and leverage. The modern world tells you to hustle loudly. Social media convinces you that you must constantly prove your value, show off your wins, and remain hypervisible to succeed. Machiavelli would call this financial suicide. When you constantly broadcast your moves, your desires, and your needs, you give away your power. You show the market exactly how to manipulate you. True financial power is quiet. It is built on unpredictability and selective information disclosure. Think about a high-stakes negotiation. The person who talks the most, who eagerly explains themselves, and who desperately tries to prove their worth is always the one who loses. The person who embraces silence, who reveals very little, and who is completely willing to walk away holds all the power. If your boss, your clients, or your competitors know exactly how much you need the money, they will extract your labor for a fraction of its true value. You must engineer a perception of absolute autonomy. Never appear needy. Never rush into a financial decision because of manufactured urgency. Silence is not just the absence of noise. It is a weapon of financial leverage. But to wield this weapon, you must first escape the invisible prison of your own identity. Most high-income earners are completely trapped by their label. They see themselves exclusively as a doctor, a lawyer, a senior engineer, or a loyal corporate executive. This identity provides comfort and social status, but it actively limits their financial growth because it makes them terrified of risk. Wealth creation requires you to step into the unknown. It requires you to embrace uncertainty and delay gratification. If you are unwilling to risk your comfortable, socially approved identity, you will never cross the threshold from earning a high salary to actually holding generational wealth. The system wants you addicted to the safety of the bi-weekly paycheck. It wants you to fear failure so much that you never challenge the boundaries of your comfort zone. You must kill the employee identity. You are not your job title. You are a sovereign entity managing a portfolio of assets, skills, and time. Once you detach your ego from your specific role, you can start making objective, high ROI decisions that the average worker would be too terrified to attempt. And the most important high ROI decision you can make is to aggressively manufacture margin in your life. The middle class incorrectly equates busyness with importance. They fill every single hour of their day with tasks, meetings, and obligations. They believe that if they are always moving, they are moving forward. This is the hustle trap. Wealthy individuals do not optimize for busyness. They optimize for slack. Margin. Optionality. If your calendar and your bank account are 100% full of obligations, you have zero room to seize a massive, unexpected opportunity when it arises. You have no time to think, to strategize, or to recognize a fundamental shift in the market. You are too busy chopping down trees to realize you are in the completely wrong forest. Strategic movement requires periods of absolute stillness. You must build financial and temporal margin into your system. This means having liquid capital sitting idle, waiting for the perfect moment. It means having empty hours in your day dedicated purely to deep thinking. The poor view idle cash and idle time as wasteful. The elite view them as ammunition. This is how you completely avoid emotional spending and desperation. When you have margin, you are never forced to take a bad deal just to survive the month. You have the structural stability to wait for the asymmetric bet that will multiply your net worth. But margin is impossible to maintain if you suffer from emotional leakage. Every time you overshare your financial plans, complain about your struggles, or boast about your recent successes, you create a vulnerability. Modern society encourages you to be completely transparent and authentic, but transparency is a luxury that those seeking power cannot afford. Machiavelli warned that those who reveal their full hand invite destruction. In the financial world, overexposure leads directly to exploitation. If people know exactly how much capital you have, they will find a way to ask for it. If they know your exact strategy, they will front-run it. You must practice extreme restraint. The most dangerous individuals in the financial ecosystem are those who observe everything and reveal absolutely nothing. They build their wealth in the shadows, far away from the applause of the crowd. They do not care about looking rich. They care about being untouchable. To reach this level of sovereignty, you must transition from a theoretical understanding of money to operational mastery. You cannot build wealth relying on the goodwill of your employer, the fairness of the government, or the loyalty of a corporation. Those are external forces that do not care if you survive or perish. Generational wealth is sustained by cold, mechanical systems and unbreakable boundaries. You must build a personal infrastructure that protects your capital from inflation, taxation, and your own emotional impulses. This means automating your investments, legally shielding your assets, and setting ruthless boundaries with your time and energy. You must become completely unpredictable to the system, but hyper-consistent in your internal execution. The ultimate realization of the Machiavellian approach to money is that true wealth feels remarkably quiet. It is not the chaotic, adrenaline-fueled hustle portrayed in movies or social media. It is the boring, inevitable consequence of clarity, long-term thinking, and absolute emotional restraint. You must shed the comforting myths you were taught in childhood. The world is not fair, and no one is coming to save you. But once you accept this brutal reality, you become completely free. You stop wasting your energy on resentment and start channeling it into strategic positioning. Inventory your financial behaviors today. Are you operating on emotion or logic? Are you speaking too much and listening too little? Are you trapped in an identity that demands you work hard for someone else's empire? It is time to step off the hamster wheel. Master the psychology of power. Cultivate silence. Hoard your optionality. If you want to understand the exact cognitive frameworks that keep the elite rich and the masses poor, subscribe to the channel, study the structure, master the behavior. See you in the next protocol.